hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whipped in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Karemio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Caught an apple slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Like it was a platoon boat, it could hold like 10 people.
Y'all niggas used to be over there talking about sweet pussy sound familiar. Yeah, you know. OG knows too. He got her email address.
Where she at? She in Cali. So I said, what's happening?
Your mic muzzled, motherfucker.
Can y'all see that?
Hey, shut your ass.
Yeah.
Can you read it? Can you see it?
Nah, we can't read it. You gotta read it, bro. What up, Juice?
What's up, bro? Chillin'.
That's what's up, G.
All right, check it out. It say Elizabeth Morris, born, say, 1688, the servant of Francis Weeks, was presented by the grand jury of Middlesex County, Virginia, on January 8th, 1705, for having a mulatto bastard child.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
The court ordered the sheriff to give her 25 lashes and ordered the church wardens of the parish to sell her after she completed her indenture to the Weeks. She was presented for the same offense on June 7th of 1708. She was a mulatto woman whose son, James Morris, was baptized in Christ Church Parish, Middlesex County, on 15th of March in 1705. But yeah, she one of my great grandmothers in the house, you know?
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I just found that record a few days ago, and it was a Christian record, you know, from the church way back then in Virginia.
What's good? It's your brother YK the Truth, and another Abel dies by his own genealogy. Now there's a brother named Juice who's always trolling me on Smoke Signals channel. I would have never made a video about this brother, but every time I pull up, he got something to say about me. So now you made the list. So he goes on Root Words channel and he shows his records, right? Now, a while back, he has been telling me that he had records from the 1600s. You know what I mean? I'm thinking it ties him to an Indian, but it doesn't. he shows a record of mulattoes in Virginia. And we know what a mulatto is in Virginia in the 1600s, in the late 1600s. In the late 1600s, Virginia, a mulatto person was generally defined as someone of mixed European and African ancestry. All right? So Juice shares his genealogy, and he shares Elizabeth Morris, right? Servant of Francis Weeks. And somebody gets in trouble for having a mulatto child. And that mulatto child is going to be no other than Juice's ancestor, right? So that proves that Juice has African ancestry. Now, if you go to the Morris family, and you can find this on the Free African Americans.com, African, and it says Elizabeth Morris, born, say 1688, the servant of Francis Weeks, was presented by the grand jury of Middlesex County, Virginia, on the 8th of January, 1705. Now, we know about the law in 1705, right? The Virginia law. We're going to speak about that. About Africans for having a mulatto bastard child. So we already established that a mulatto is an African and a European. The court ordered the sheriff to give her 25 lashes and ordered the church wardens of the parish to sell her after she completed her indenture to Weeks. So even after she completed her indentured servitude, she would still be sold. So that means she was a slave, right? She was a mulatto woman whose son, James Morris, was baptized in Christ Church Parish, Middlesex County. Right? There's the microfilm. So, Juice, we found your African ancestry. All right? This is why Abos don't show their genealogy. Because when they show their genealogy, somebody turns into an African. Winifred Morris, born 9th May 1707. A mulatto belonging to Francis Weeks, was baptized in Christ Church. All right? Francis, born a mulatto, probably identical to Francis Mulatto. He brought a suit against Anthony Jasper by the Chesterfield County. He was called a mulatto. So the Morris were mulattoes, and they were mixed people. They had African ancestry in them. So no, Juice, this does not prove you're an Indian. Let me repeat that. This record does not prove you're an Indian. This record only proves that you have African ancestry. And the 1705 law is going to prove it. Remember, the time that person was born was 1705 in Virginia, Juice. In Virginia, Juice. So, Juice, you have African ancestry. So anytime I say, yo, what record you got and how far you go back, right? And you tell me 1600s, late 1600s, the only reason you go back that far is because you have European and African being mixed. Most of them things were documented, because of a court, something that happened in court. Something that happened in court left these records. But if this didn't happen, you wouldn't have went back that far. And this damn sure don't establish your Indian ancestry. So don't speak of this record, because this record literally ties you to Africa, not to America. Okay? Now, the following law was not the first version of Virginia's slave code, but earlier laws were very incomplete. In 1662, 1667, 1682, and 1693, Virginia had passed various parts of slave codes, including the 1662 law that made enslaved status hereditary through the mother. A 1667 law declared that baptism did not free slaves. A 1682 law allowed the enslaving of Indians. A 1693 law was at first about runaways on an outlying plantation, but after revising by the upper house, Virginia's council, it added disturbing new language that dictated that mulatto children of white women and Negro men to be bound as indentured servants for 31 years. Did you hear that? So a white woman and a Negro man, you would be an indentured servant for 31 years. It also punished those white women with either a hefty fine, or if they could not pay it, with a whipping, right? Remember the lashings? With a whipping and servitude themselves for 5 years. Before 1705, there were many attempts to pass a more comprehensive code in Virginia, one loosely modeled on the Barbados Code. Now, let's go to another part of the Virginia law, right? And it says, and if any Negro mulatto, it said Negro mulatto, or Indian, Jew, Moor. So let's stop right there, right, Juice? So for you to think that this proves your Indian ancestry, it's letting you know right there that mulatto is not an Indian. Okay? Mulatto is not an Indian. Mulatto is a mixture of African and European. Now, I found an article with Elizabeth Morris in it. And it says free people of color in Old Virginia, the Morris family. And it speaks about Elizabeth Morris. And it says, we know, for an example, that Elizabeth Morris, a servant of Middlesex County, was of mixed ancestry because the Vestry Book of Christ Church Parish described her in 1706 as a mulatto woman. 1706. That same vestry book identified Elizabeth's white master and mistress as gentlemen Francis Weeks and his wife Elizabeth. The Weeks family owned a number of slaves, raising questions about why Elizabeth was not also enslaved. Perhaps her mother was also a servant, or perhaps Elizabeth was the child of an enslaved woman and a white slave master who subsequently freed her. See, Juice? You know you fucked up, right? Long before the rise of the Cotton South in the post-revolution United States, people of European, African, and Native American ancestry struggled against systems of bondage in the American colonies. In the first half of the 17th century, as tobacco profits flourished, settlers in Virginia's Chesapeake Bay region took advantage of England's head right system to build vast plantations. All right. So we have found Juice's African ancestry. He comes from a white slave owner and an enslaved woman. Okay? So all of the abos who say they don't come from slaves, you gotta hold this L, because Juice, you come from someone who was enslaved and set free. This does not establish your Indian ancestry. Let me repeat it. This does not prove you're an Indian. Okay? So when we ask you how far you go back and what records you got to trace you being an Indian, we're not talking about proving you have African ancestry. Why every time you guys show your genealogy, you have African ancestry? Smoke Peoples was owned by the Chickasaw. They were freedmen. When you look up freedmen, they are African. But Smoke doesn't want to accept that, so he asks the stupid question, how does being a freedman tie you to a person? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Being a freedman ties you to a group of people and who those people were, not one person. People who all went through a struggle. And this is why Smoke Signal runs from that. Then you got OTK, who we found his ancestors, and they were West Africans from the Akan tribe. When we had Sister Bethy's records, and it showed her families in those infantries. And when you look up the Militia Act, and it says African descent. So, this is why abos are afraid to show their genealogy. Because every time they show their genealogy, somebody turns into an African. Juice, you gotta wake up, brother. I know it's gonna hurt. You're gonna be offended. But guess what? Surgery hurts, but it's necessary for recovery. You feel me? So with that being said, it's your brother YK the Truth. Like the video, share the video. We caught another abo slipping, and another abo dies by his own genealogy. And I'm out. Peace.